Hey everyone, welcome back to another Sims 4 mod review. Today I'm super excited to bring this mod to my YouTube channel. Well, it's not my mod, but it is the real estate mod by simsrealist. Simsrealist is one of my favorite mod creators in the Sims 4 world. I use about all of their mods in my daily gameplay, and I figured it was about time to do a review on them. This is easily one of my favorite mods and in the top 10 of my mod list of must-have mods to have in your game. This mod is extremely close to my heart because I am also a realtor. I have my real estate license here in Florida. And so basically when this mod came out, it kind of was like my two worlds colliding. And I figured what best than to make a mod review and give you my honest thoughts about this mod. And it being that also I'm a realtor, so I could probably give you guys the best opinion for this mod of how I feel about it. But the other thing that I wanted to do was give a quick disclaimer on a few things about this mod before we get into the mod review today. The first one is all of the mod files that I'm using today in my game for simrealist are on their Patreon page, but I did pay to have early access to them. So I do pay yearly to simrealist to not only support them making their mods, but also to get early access on some of their mods, well, majority of their mods, if not all of them. So it is still available for public, but you might not have all the features that I have in my game. So if you do want to pay on their Patreon page, I'm not saying you have to, but if you did want to get those features right away, you would have to subscribe to their Patreon. If you want to wait, that's totally fine. I'm not making anyone pay for Patreon. But the other thing too is with the real estate mod, make sure you also download these simrealist bank mod and the bills mod and the financial center mod as well. I will link all of them in my description, so you can just click on the link and it'll take you to each of those websites to make it easier. But without further ado, let's get into this mod review so I can show you how this mod works. Okay, so we are back in game. I've got my test subject here today. I'm pretty sure she's probably from... So when you log into the game for the first time, you should see these pop-ups from the actual mod itself letting you know that you did download the mod correctly. If you don't get this, I highly recommend going back and reading the description of the mod to figure out exactly what might have gone wrong. It is pretty simple. All you need to do is just unzip the file that it comes in and just put it into your mod folder. This will also pop up for S&B bills, and you just basically open the app to select what home services you are doing today. But we're not doing that mod today. We're doing the real estate mod, and as we did see somewhere up here, right here, we have downloaded it correctly. Now there's a few steps that we need to do before we actually go in and do the process of buying a property. That first step is we need to put down the financial center, because a part of the real estate mod is you can get what are called mortgages, which basically help you buy a property. If you don't have enough money, you get a loan from the bank and then you pay that money back to the bank with interest on that mortgage so that you can buy the property. It's kind of like paying rent for a little bit until you own the house outright, is my best way to explain it, although you own the property and you just borrowed some money. So I figured we would do that as well. We would get her a mortgage for whatever property she's buying, but we do have enough money, so I might save that for another part of the video, but we're still going to do it. So in order to do it, not every sim starts out with $122,000. To thank our friend UI Cheats mod, we are starting off with $122,000. But what you'll need to do is from your property, whatever you bought, I bought this little starter home, and there's a reason for that, which we will get into later. We'll go ahead and click on the manage worlds. I'm gonna go ahead and save and exit. So the first thing that we need to do is put down the financial center. Now, when you download the financial center on the simrealist website, it should be, it should take you to another website where you can download the tray files to that property. You're gonna wanna download those tray files, or you can create your own. You can create your own financial center if you wanted to build your own, but I'm a terrible builder, so we're just gonna download the ones that they gave us. Open up your gallery and go to my library, and then on here you'll click include custom content, and you should have these properties that pop up, which are not, the family health clinics are for private practice, but what I'm looking for is down here, right here. There's a few other ones. You've got the Newcrest one, you got the Willow Creek one, Oasis Springs. There's a few more on here that they have, or maybe that's just it. Oh, and you've got, I think that's it. Oh no, you got this Sim National branch here, which is just another regular one. But I normally download for whatever world I'm in, which is currently Willow Creek, so we'll go ahead and download this Willow Creek one. It is a 30 by 20 lot, and we're going to want to place lot and edit. and you'll see why in a minute. So I think I'll just put it over here, quite close to our starter home, and go ahead and click that check mark. Now, when you play for the first time with the financial center, you're going to probably want to give it an hour in the Sims 4 game to register all the people there, because you just played it and it's a new save file. Once you do that the first time, they should start appearing, as you come more often. But here is the SMB bank. It looks really, really cool. Like, it actually looks like a bank, but I'm not surprised because it is a bank. This is part of the Sim National Bank mod by Sim Realist. You'll go ahead and click this venue info, go to the traits panel, and you want to make sure that this Sim National Bank trait is on the lot. If it's not on the lot, it's not going to work, and you're not going to have any Sims pop up to actually work the Sim Realist Bank, which that's not going to be any fun. I'm pretty sure you can leave it at generic. You're going to want to keep it at generic. You don't want to change it. You just want to make sure that it's generic and it's got that trait. This is the most important part to take away from this. After that, you can go ahead and click manage worlds again, and then I would double check before you leave that it's still on generic and still has that trait, which is right here. So we're all good to continue. So we'll go back into our Sims 4 game. So what you're going to want to do is, when you're back at your property, realtors in this game work Monday through Friday, I'm pretty sure, which is so not true in real life. We work Sunday through Sunday, but it's the Sims 4, so I'm not going to hold that against them. You should see on the second page there is RE Real Estate, and there's also this S&B Bank, but this is what we're more concerned about right here. So because I'm not going to sell this home, because a very cool thing within this mod is you can own more than one properties. You can also rent out properties, which is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be keeping the first property and buying a new property and then renting out this property to someone else, if that makes sense. So we're going to go ahead and hire a realtor if she gets off the computer. If you did see there is a portion where it says hire an appraiser. Like in anything in real life, when selling a home, you need an appraised value for that home, basically showing how much it's worth. And if you wanted to sell this home and move to another house and not have the rental thing, you would need to get this home appraised, but it's from Monday through Friday. I think it's like from 9 to 5 p.m. that you can get your house appraised for. So you will need a sim to stay back home to get the appraisal done. I think it takes a couple sim hours. It's not too long, and they'll give you a whole list as to what exactly, like they'll kind of give you a breakdown of why they gave you that price in the Sims, and it changes every 7 days. And so we've got our people here. Again, you got to pay also commission to your realtor. So it's not like the EA move system where you just move and the house is 60,000. On here, there's other fees and stuff. So if you're buying a house at 60,000, it's probably going to be somewhere between 75 to 80,000 simoleons that you're paying in game. So you're going to want to make sure you have a little bit more extra cash in that bank account. But here you can see their rating. The more ratings they have, the better of a realtor they are. So right here we got 5-star, but it's 8% commission, which is a lot. Normally it's like 3%, over 3% if you're lucky. Anywhere over 3%, you're really good. But normally it's like 3%. This is all from Florida knowledge. I live in Florida, so it could be different in other states. Cassie's got 4 stars, but a 2% commission, a little bit more reasonable, 13 years in the field. I try and look for the ones with the highest stars, but with the less commission. Normally it works out for me quite well. And I just kind of scroll through here. 6%, that's a lot for 5 stars. I mean, not as much as the, I think I'm going to go with Cassie right here, and we'll go ahead and hire her as our realtor. Just click that. And then once she's hired, you can go back into your phone panel and hit on this real estate button, and you'll have a bigger list on here. Oh, someone's calling me. I did not want to go to Batu. I don't ever want to go there. You can open your realtor or make an appointment with a realtor. We'll go ahead and make that appointment. Okay, well then I guess it's just the appraisals that are Monday through Friday. For some reason I thought the realtors were Monday through Friday as well, but I guess they're not. So I mean, that is very realistic. Realtors always work. They're never not working. We'll just wait for her to they should give you a little message of saying, I'm on my way. Autumn, looking forward to discuss our next real estate endeavors. So then you get this little realtor pop up, and your realtor should appear here. We'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. Forget we have that welcome wagon too. It's probably not a good timing. I do not want a fruitcake. So you'll click on more choices, and you'll see this real estate panel here. Here is where you can do everything that you need to do for your real estate needs. What we'll want to do, set a house wish list, and that will allow us to put in what we want for the next property. So here we go on the house wish list. There's a few things that you're going to want to put in, which is the value range, worlds, and lot traits if you want any. You don't have to put lot traits in, and if you don't want to, but I would suggest putting worlds in as well. So our value range, so a little thing to note about the value range, because this is a new save file, the houses haven't been appraised yet within the Sims 4 game. As you play though, and houses get quote unquote sold, or you buy properties and stuff like that, then the prices will start to pop up. So this will become really handy for you if you're playing on a long like legacy challenge with this in your game. At one point, you'll be able to see all the properties on that value page, on the value range, with the current appraised prices, if that makes sense. But because there are no houses that have been appraised or sold yet in this game, because it's such a new save file, there's not going to be anything to pop up. I mean, it will pop up with the properties, but it won't show you the price. So we'll just put in 1,000 to like 100,000. I'll just type, you should be able to do this. Here, let me just make this easier on myself. 1K to 100,000, it'll show up on here, and we'll pick the worlds. Lately, I've been really into Sulani, so I'm just going to click this. Also, this percent shows you when you sell the property, it'll have a 5% increase on your, selling the property. So if you buy a property in a world that has a 5% boost, that's good. Some of these, like Stranger Real, has a negative 2%, which will be applied to your appraisal value. So you'll get a negative 2% on your house price. So if you're looking for investment properties, I would go for these 5%, because you'll get a lot more money for your property than if you went for something that obviously was lower than that. So we'll just pick Sulani, and then we'll go ahead and submit this, and they will come back to us in a couple of days. Now, because she is a 4-star realtor, she should get back to us within the next 24 or 48 hours with our house list. So I'm going to go ahead and end the appointment with her. Okay, so our realtor just called back, Cassie, and she says, "Hello, Autumn. I found some houses that might interest you. You should check house listings on the real estate tab of your phone. When you see this, that means there are now houses for you to go and check out." So we go to the real estate panel, go down to the check house listings, and click on house listings. You won't be able to do anything until you click on the houses you want to check. So we'll go ahead and do this, and here are all the properties that will pop up that are available, and they will even tell you if it is, like, you can filter it by if it's occupied, unoccupied, or an empty lot. So it kind of helps you filter out what exactly the properties are. Go and check out the houses, or you can check out all of them. There's really no limit on how many houses you can check. It just depends on how long you want to be out looking at homes. This is one feature that I love about this game, is because I feel like in The Sims, when you save up all that money and you buy a house, you might forget what that house looks like, because there are a lot of worlds in The Sims now, and so it is kind of hard to keep track of what houses have which and what houses don't. So this is a perfect mod to have in your game, just for the reasoning of you can go and look at these properties and figure out, okay, do I really want to buy this house or not? But we'll go ahead, and lucky for me, I do know what most of these properties look like, so we'll go ahead and do this Tangled Flat here. We'll also do this Shefton's Villa, and then I know Lagoon Look. I don't want to do too many, so we might, and then maybe like Pure Perfection, and I think that's it. I think that's all we'll do. But I did want to point out one thing. As you can see right here, it says on this price right here, it says to be determined. Again, the more you play with it, the more the mod will be able to work into your save file to then show the prices by here. So again, this is a new save file, so it's not going to show up right here, but it does give you the description of the property as well. So maybe that will help you guys with determining what lot it is that you want to find. Another thing to note is if you are playing and there are prices by the side and you want a certain property and it's not popping up, you might want to change the price range for your Sims for it to pop up. So that is also one thing to know. So now we'll check the check mark and go on the home tours, and we'll start your home tours. You can end it at any time. So if you find a property that you're in love with and you're like, I don't want to see anymore, you can end the home tours. You don't have to go on all of them. So this is the first one, Tangled Flat, and it'll give you kind of a list of stuff. You don't have to do all of this stuff, but it does help kind of get a little bit more information. But as you can see, now we are on a proper home tour, and you can see the actual property and decide if you want to do it or not. So we can ask her some questions about the property with the ask about appraised value, which is where you'll see. So now that we've clicked the appraised value, it'll tell us now exactly the appraised value of this property. So we can see now that this is valued to be at 17,938 simoleons with a plus 12.5% or 12,380 simoleons with a, again, 12.5 increase if unfurnished. So this one would be furnished and this is unfurnished. So if you wanted to save some simoleons, you could just buy it unfurnished, then furnish it yourself. Here are some of the lot factors. This will also show up when you get an appraisal for your house. It'll show you the percent. So for here, 20 by 20s never have any, they're always negative. So lot dimensions, if you own a 20 by 20 lot in The Sims, it's always going to be negative. I've never had it be positive. Two bedrooms is going to give you a 2% little increase. And then it's got a bathroom, kind of shows you the other, you know, for the lot factors. And then there's the neighborhood factors, which this plays a big role with it being Sulani because it's a 5% increase. They also have career levels as well. So they have 5 levels. So it's kind of taking the average of every sim in the neighborhood. Also, if you have an education level, that will go up as well. So if your Sims have a degree and you have multiple, you know, generations maybe in a Sims world and they all have degrees, that will boost it up as well. Unemployment's probably not good to have on here. And then the supply and demand, which is pretty high with 2 houses sold, which gives you another 4% bonus. So it is nice because you can see exactly why, you know, things might be higher or lower in that area. And it's also nice to know, gives you kind of an idea when you know, maybe sell it, if you're going to get more or less for that property. Again, they will expire in 7 days. So every sim week, there are new appraisal values, which is quite nice. So if you get one appraisal value that's not good, just wait 7 days and you'll probably get a better one. So we'll go ahead and check that. And then I normally don't go through all of this stuff, but when it comes time to, when you've kind of, you know, looked around, did what you wanted to do, click on make decision, and you can choose not to add it to your shortlist, which the shortlist is basically the list of homes that you want to buy. So make sure to put them on the shortlist if you plan on buying them. If you don't plan on buying them, then continue on with your home tours. But I'm going to go ahead and add this to our shortlist, and then you just hit yes, and then that'll finish up that. And then you can either choose to go home or you can continue. We'll go ahead and continue. I'll show you one more. So the next one is the Chieftain's Villa. I think that's how you say it. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest. And we'll go ahead and ask for her appraised value. So this one's a bit higher with a 76,619 simoleons, but it's a 17% increase on the price. So again, this would be really, really good. Instead of using EA's system, you'll be making more money when buying properties and stuff like that. The neighborhood factors should be the same, just because it is the same world. If it was a different world, then, you know, this might look a little different, but yeah. So that is pretty much it for that property. We'll go ahead and check the check mark, and we'll go ahead and make our decision and add the house to the short list. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click go home because I don't wanna make this video too long, but I also don't wanna make it too short because there's a lot in this mod to cover. So now that we're back home, what we're going to do is go back into our phone panel, click on real estate, and then go to the check house listings. And now we can choose this negotiation battle. You can negotiate for your Sims property of their future property that they're buying. So we'll go ahead and click this one. And I think I'm going to buy the Chieftain's Villa just because it's worth a little bit more. And we may or may not be selling it in this video. And we'll go ahead and start the negotiation battle. But we can obviously tell that this is our seller's realtor. So we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. There's a reason I'm doing this because you want to interact with the seller's agent to start the negotiation process. Now that we've done that, we're going to go into their real estate tab and start the negotiation battle. One thing I will say, but we'll do furnished. Obviously, I'm not furnishing this household. Now, the great thing about this is he's got 3 stars and we've got 4 stars for our realtor. So that's always nice. There are 3 rounds to this. Now, what I will say in real estate, you can have as many rounds as you want. Normally, though, I would say they're probably not going to go back and forth with you up to 10 rounds. Like, this isn't a boxing match. It just depends in real life exactly what the situation you're in. Every situation in real estate is completely different, but there's no like set amount of rounds that you have in a negotiation. But within this mod, I understand why they did 3 rounds because it would not be fun sitting here, you know, for hours trying to negotiate on a property. This is The Sims. We don't need to make it too realistic. So like I said, you can ask your realtor for advice, and they'll say place your first offer as low as 67,300. Now, if you don't want to do this, if you want to, you know, change the price, you can, but I will say do not get too greedy and put it as a very low price. I've done that before and it backfired on me very quickly. I don't know if that's because I was working with Judith Ward. She was the seller for the property, but I was very upset to find out that I did not get that house. Anyways, we'll put in the amount that she said, so just type it in here. And then once you're done with that, you can place offer, or you can place it being your final offer if you're that confident in your price. So they'll kind of go back and forth now, and the seller's agent will come back and say if it's good or bad. Give it a second. Okay, so they're mad. They're mad. My client, here's your 67,300 simoleon offer. Cassie and counter offers with 72,500. So that's not bad because I'm pretty sure it was at 76. So we're getting there. Go ahead for round 2. I'll ask her for advice again. She says 72,500 is already well within our price point, Autumn. However, I think we can still counter offer with 71,300 to get an even better deal. We'll go ahead and do that and place that offer. Again, you can either save money or lose money. That's the great thing about real estate. So hopefully they accept it. No, 72,500 offer. That's what they're settling for. That's fine. I'll take that because we saved, maybe like $4,000. I can't remember what the house was originally priced at. We'll go ahead and ask her again just to see what she says. That mind, I think we can place an offer at 72,100. I'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and place our offer. They'll decide whether they want to take it or not. If they do decide to take it, that's great. If they don't decide to take it, we're still left with that original. Oh, they did it. But going back to that point, if they hadn't accepted that offer for 72,100, we would have been brought back to the original offer of 72,500, and we would have been able to accept that as well. So now that we have gone through this process, we'll go back home. The negotiations are over for that property, and we move forward. Going back into your phone now, we'll go back to the real estate panel, or we could just click this. This should pop up, and you can just click on the check house listings and then the closing process. Again, you'll click on the villa right here, and you'll need to pay an earnest money fee. Pay this earnest money fee. The other thing on this mod you can do is exchange properties. So if I wanted to, I could click this and exchange the property that I'm currently in for the other property. So it would deduct some of that price because this house is not worth 72,000 simoleons on the Sims 4 game. It's probably worth like 15,000, but we didn't get the house appraised for, so we probably wouldn't be able to exchange it. But once you exchange the property, you're not getting any money back. So let's say you're buying a property that's, $200,000 in the Sims, and you own a $250,000 property in the Sims. If you exchange that, you're not getting the 50,000 back from the property that you just bought. So be careful. If you're going to exchange a property, you might want to make sure that it's worth a little less than the property that you're buying, so you're not losing more money. But we'll just go ahead and pay the cost of the home, which is $72,000, and then we'll go ahead and pay the realtor commissions, which again we agreed on the 2.04%. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then we have the additional closing fees to pay as well. Again, I told you all, you're going to want to make sure you have more than what you're purchasing the property for in your bank account. But we'll go ahead and submit this. And now we are the proud owners of our new villa, and we will set it as our main home. If you didn't want to do this and you didn't want to set it as your main home, you can click no, but we'll go ahead and hit yes, because now we get to the other part of this mod, which is renting your properties. Your Sims technically will not have to work. If they become mega real estate investors, they can just have rental properties everywhere. Be kind of like the land grabs, but within real estate, We'll go ahead and get our house services. I always go for the premium package with this mod, but we'll go back into our phone and go back into the real estate panel. We're going to want to click now on manage properties. You will see we have 2 properties here. We have one in Willow Creek and then our main home. We'll click on this. There's a reason for this, and there's a reason I'm doing this. Now, the thing about this mod is I should have gotten the appraisal. Forgot you needed one of these. So to make this a little easier on yourselves, before you move, make sure to get an appraisal. I forgot to do that part, but no valid appraised value found. Request an appraisal for a home lot first. So what we'll need to go is visit this residency again, request a lot appraisal. It is 500 simoleons. It's not, here we go. I knew it. So they'll walk around and take photos of the property. And now we have our appraised value done. So you should get this on here again. Just a reminder, it's 7 days in the Sims. So here we go. See, again, it's 20 by 15. You're not going to get in the positives for that. It's a very small property, so that's not going to be a big plus for your property. But we did get it at 18,389 simoleons, which is better than I bought it for. I bought it for $15,000 here. I think the property is like $15,000 something in game. So we did get a little bit more money. We got about around $3,000 more. Again, our neighborhood value, we have nothing for Willow Creek because it is, I find that a lot of the OG worlds like the Willow Creek, Oasis Springs and Newcrest, you don't get a boost from that. Or did Newcrest, I think it's an original lot to the game, base game world. And then we have this career level a little lower than Sulani, but that's fine. I'll still take it. And apparently 2 houses were sold here. So now we can go back into our pie menu and do this all over again with managed properties, streamlit single, and now we can set as a rental property. Now they will give you a rent cost that you can set, or you can make your own price. Like I've literally had properties that I have set as rentals for like 2,000 simoleons a week, where they're paying me 2,000 simoleons a week. But the higher up you go for the rent cost, the longer it will take to find a tenant. So if you're looking for something quick and within 24 hours, the lower you go, the faster you'll get someone to move in. The higher you go, the longer you're gonna have to wait to get someone in. The longest I've waited is like 3 days in The Sims. But if you're really, really looking to, be a cash cow on that, you can wait 3 days in The Sims. I'll actually set this maybe for like 600 and we'll set that. And then now it will pop up with this saying, congratulations, your rental application for a streamlit single has been successfully submitted. We'll go ahead and hit the OK button and it will say ETA is around 2 days in The Sims. So we'll have to wait 2 days for our realtor to call us when a prospective tenant is available. So in the meantime, I think we should buy another property because I want to show you guys how a mortgage system works. So what we'll do is maybe we'll just buy that Tangled Flat property that we already saw. Now, the thing about a mortgage is they let you take out, I believe it's 43% of your household funds. So you might have to do a little math on this. So basically, if you had $100,000 in your bank account, you can only take out a mortgage up to $43,000 in The Sims, if that makes sense. Now, a mortgage, the one thing I do want to point out is you're going to want to make a account within SNB Bank for them to give you access to the mortgage. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly. I wasn't trying to do this because I didn't want to confuse you all today because it's a lot of information, but we'll just go ahead and open up a new account. Again, this is the new version of it. It just kind of came out a couple months ago or something like that, maybe a month ago. We'll just do a savings account, and I normally do Premier because you get money back on it. No thanks. And we'll just do this. And I think let's just put in like 30,000 and then close. Now that we have an account in The Sims, we should be good to go. But we've got our account managers. This is our loan officer. This is very much a real job. As realtors, we work very closely with loan officers so that we can get the best for our clients. But we will apply for a mortgage and we'll go ahead and use this account. We'll just do the 20,000. Maybe we should do, I'll just do 18,000%. Typically, you put down 20% on a mortgage, depending on what mortgage it is. I don't want to confuse all of you guys, but there are different types of mortgages out there and different loans that they have, depending on, what you're trying to do with buying a house. But for this one, fortunately for you guys, it's just one type of mortgage with a couple different options that you can choose from. So we'll go ahead and click on that. They'll tell you what the 20% upfront would be. So it's 3,600 simoleons is upfront. And here is where the fun part, where the funds start. Or a total of 8 sim weeks to pay off the 14,400 simoleons that you took from the bank. You'll have to, on a 20% down mortgage with a 2.5% rate. So this is your interest rate that you'll have to be paying on that mortgage, because when you borrow money from the bank, they want to put interest rates on it so that they're getting something in return. You can't just borrow money for free. And then you have a 12-week option with a 1.25% rate on a 20% down loan to pay back that amount. So we're just going to go with the 12 weeks because at any time mortgage on this mod, you can put more down. So you don't have to wait 12 weeks. Like if you wanted to pay it all off at once, you could do that. Typically, if you're doing a mortgage, it's because you can't pay it off all at once. Again, this is kind of like the breakdown sheet of the mortgage. So our down payment again is that 3,600 simoleons. Our weekly payment amount is 1,200 simoleons for a 12 weeks with that interest rate. And then the total property purchase amount is 18,000. Don't worry, you're getting the $18,000. Because we put down 20% though, that's where the mortgage payment, the loan amount comes back to 14,400 because you've already put 20% down of that mortgage. But I want to point this out, guys. If you fail to pay your mortgage, there are consequences, just as there are consequences in life. But failure to comply with the weekly payments will result in late fees, repossession. They'll repossess you, foreclosure, and an evidential lawsuit. And your Sims could potentially die. So we'll go ahead and accept this agreement. And now that we have accepted this, we have 7 days within this agreement to find a house and to purchase it. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. So now that we're back home, I'm going to go back into this panel, click on the real estate mod, check house listings, negotiation battle, tangled flat, start negotiation battle. So now that we're back home, we'll go ahead and check house listings, go into the closing process, click on tangled flat. Now here we go. We'll go into escrow on this with our mortgage. Now, because our mortgage was $18,000 in the Sims and the property of the home, the cost of the home was 17,000 simoleons, 1,000 of will go towards paying off our mortgage because we're buying a home that's 17,000, whereas our mortgage is 18,000 simoleons, if that makes sense. So our mortgage will drop down to now 13,400 simoleons to pay for. So obviously, if you have a bigger mortgage and you're buying a cheaper property, that money will just go back into paying off your mortgage, which is nice. So at least it's going somewhere. So we'll go into escrow and complete our mortgage closing, and we'll pay our earnest money, pay the realtor commissions, pay our down payment for the property, and then pay the additional closing fees and go ahead and hit submit. We are now a proud owner of 3 properties now. Okay, so we are now back. Well, at least I'm back. It's felt like forever, but we finally got the call from our realtor saying that we have a application for our Streamlit single in Willow Creek, that we have a prospective tenant. He goes by the name of, Yairo? We'll just call him Fitzpatrick, and is in a 2-member household. How would you like to handle this, Autumn? So we'll go ahead and set up that tenant interview, and it'll show you the 2 people that will be moving into your property. And here's quite nice because you can choose the interview. So say your sim worked and couldn't and wasn't able to make it tomorrow, you can choose when they will meet. You might not want to make it too far out, like a Monday, because then you'll really have to wait. But we'll go ahead and do it for tomorrow, and then you can set your time. I do think this does use military time, I think. So if you make it for 1, you might be making it for 1 in the morning, but we'll keep it at noon. So this is the pop-up window that you'll get when the tenant interview is ready. You can either dismiss them or start the tenant interview. If you dismiss them, it will restart the process for getting a tenant. So you might want to be careful on, you don't want to misclick. So now we're back at where it all started. It should give you some things to do. You can easily make the decision if you want to have them in your household, but it might be, or not household, but have them in your, rental property. You do want to make sure that they can qualify for the property, like the apartments. You want to make sure that they, you can ask them about their jobs, just to make sure that they are in a career so that they can pay for the property, because on this mod, not every tenant will pay you, and you might have to evict them, but then that will create some sour relationships for you. So you want to be careful. Okay, well, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and make the decision for them, and we will go ahead and accept their tenancy. It is 600 for rent, so we'll get 600 simoleons weekly from them. Now, if you own a lot of properties, eventually you might be making a lot more than 600 a week. Now, granted, you can set your own prices for this. So if you wanted to make it really ridiculous, you could set it for like $100,000 a week. Your Sims will really be loaded. But you can accept the tenancy, and then the lease agreement is for 4 weeks. So every 4 weeks you can renew the lease or find a new tenant. If you do find a new tenant, I think you do have to wait those 3 days or however the much the ETA is, and you can also readjust the rent cost as well at the end of the lease agreement. But on here, this is very important to get the rent money. It won't go directly into your income, your household funds. You'll have to go back into manage properties to this property, the Streamlit single, manage rental property, and then collect the rental income. And from here, I'll show you what they're talking about with getting the rent income. So you'll go back into this real estate tab, hit manage properties, hit on Streamlit single, and then manage rental property. And you can evict them for 150 simoleons, or you can collect the rent. Now there is no available rent because we do have to wait 1 week. So 1 week from today, so in the game, it will be on Thursday of next week in the game that we will have to collect that rent. Obviously, I'm not going to stay and play a whole week in The Sims, but you get the gist of it. It should pop up here. If it doesn't pop up, then that means they didn't pay. And then you can get really nasty with them. And if you want to evict them, you can. Or I believe you can visit their property and ask them for the money. Or I think there is something else that you can do with it. That I'd probably have to look over again. It's definitely happened to me before, but I forgot what I did for them to pay. But yeah, that is pretty much it to the mod. There's so much more you can do within this mod. That's just kind of a light overview. I know that might seem like already a lot, but honestly, I highly suggest downloading the mod, creating like a test save, and just playing around with it for a little bit before you introduce it into your main save, just so you know exactly, how to do everything. But with that being said, I will end the video right here. So with this being said, I think this is a perfect mod to have in your game. As a realtor, I think it is pretty realistic to what a transaction would look like into, real life, although there are a little bit more that goes into a real estate transaction, but being that it is The Sims, we don't need to overcomplicate things. I think this is a great way to learn kind of how the transaction process works with having it in your Sims 4 game. It also allows for more storylines to be played. I know when Island Living came out, a lot of us were hoping that they would add in rental properties, in which they did at one point. They added in rental properties to where you could, rent the property and then go back home. But we were wanting second properties to own more than one property, which within this mod, it allows you to do that. So you can have your vacation homes and whatever, worlds you want to have. And you can have, rental properties to where your Sims could literally do nothing and just have rental properties and have the money coming in. It is probably one of my favorite mods to play with. And I only say that because it adds so much to it. There's so much you can do within this mod. I tell you what, every time I get on The Sims, I do play with this mod and buy a bunch of, rental properties. And then your Sims are basically just, living off of their rental properties, and you can really have an investment within The Sims of just your Sims being investors, and it adds a whole new career for them as well. So I definitely recommend checking out this mod and all the other mods that they have with simsrealist. But with that, I thank you all for watching today's video. I hope it was easy to understand. I know there's a lot within this mod, but if you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and comment your favorite part and what you look forward most about this mod. And if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all on Monday.